Live. We're back. It was a little bit, a lot longer than a bit of an instant, but we are back for another group race. Two absolute titans of rando. I believe actually Acktheboker were here in 2019 live, along with yourself, correct, Koek?
That's right. We're all back for a second go around here in Virginia. So it's a great tournament so far. Ack and Thalane have both been running over their group, and this is just a 3-0 matchup. And man, it should be a great
3-0 matchup. Man, this is you weren't kidding. What these guys are two of the best. Acktheboker, of course, #1 seed that I know he absolutely loves to hear and being reminded of every single time. #1 seed going into groups, of course, and as you mentioned, both Thalane and Ack are undefeated. We are absolutely ready to see in this case who gets the winning streak out of this group. But I guess in this case, I think both Ack and Thalane have advanced. So this is gonna be for pride, for some bragging rights. I believe in this case that Ack and Thalane are both very well deserving of it. But you know, at the end of the day, and the end of the race, it really is just gonna be one person that takes home the victory. So yeah, I think they have their C's ready. We have. I love the file names. Oh man. All right, this is great. So we've got, of course, if you were here for the previous race, we did see in this case that Dunka is, of course, a big supporter of Rando, and you know, maybe Ack will skip Skullwoods, maybe Ack won't, but we're definitely gonna not skip on Acktheboker, which is tomorrow. Which one are you looking forward to, Koek? Skipping out Skullwoods or skipping out Acktheboker?
I mean, Skullwoods has not been kind to me. I don't know about anybody else. So
that is also a very fair point.
Just skip on that one.
Now, I was actually saying, so Koek, you actually know these guys quite well. So I know that, of course, you and Ack go back, you know, quite a long ways. You actually, in 2019, you guys did the inaugural 0-0 Fast Ganon, right?
Yes,
yeah,
we were the first race for SGLIVE 2019. Ack actually starting a Link's house here.
So Ack may also, you know, be a very much supporter of Gerdo, who is another, of course, 2019. Well, I don't know, he wasn't here 2019, but I think Gerdo has probably convinced Ack that, you know, a Link's house start potentially to, well, it looks like actually Saha in this case.
We're not going Uncle, we're going.
Yeah,
we're going
never
Saha.
mind.
But Thalane gets a bottle, which is really nice to have before Kakariko. Although Ack is almost certainly going to get that himself.
Yeah, but yeah, Thalane in this case taking a more, say, common route here in for open modes. Thalane's actually, oh jeez.
Well, talk about things.
Yeah, you know what? Ack, this is why Ack is the #1 seed here. Going into groups, immediately finding that flute, so he is gonna make, he's gonna be a little bit more efficient. Not only Fuchs going over to Kakariko, but he's actually gonna have that movement as well. But jeez. Did you happen to catch what was on Lumberjack?
I did not. Man, it might have just been a little bit outside the crop or something, or else Thalane is just a genius.
Yeah, so, I mean, right, maybe it was like a little, like a hair of a pixel of a heart piece, I'm not sure. But hopefully this case, you know, we're going to get a second go at it. Hopefully Ack's going to give us, oh, jeez. Well, forget about, you know, forget Dunka. He's not relevant in this particular case because we've got the Fire Rod just sitting in Lost Ones.
Well, I mean, it could be, you know, Pendant Skull Woods, and they still have to decide, oh, am I going to go there, you know?
That's true, that's true.
Can I just skip it?
Yeah, getting the Fire Rod this early is, you know, just like getting the Ice Rod is a big indicator that Turtle Rock is a pendant, you know, I think Skull Woods is very much along the same spirit. Okay, alright, so we have to pay close attention here to Ack's side. Oh!
Well, we will be seeing Aga today. That's interesting.
So yeah, actually, yeah, our tracker Link Force is reminded. So we do know there's a Pendant Eastern. What do you think in this case about Pendant Pod, Koek? You think we're gonna see Aga? Do you think Thalane knows how to Mimiclip? Ack is certainly capable of this.
I believe both do. No, I know Ack definitely can Mimiclip very well. But I think Thalane knows it.
Okay, we're gonna have to see. So more likely than not, we're gonna see Aga at least on one side. Well, okay, we're gonna see in this case if Pod is a pendant or not, but more often than not, we're first gonna see this. Yeah. But very interesting. Okay, well, so we're certainly going to be on at least look out for a cape, maybe. Hopefully 2 swords. Most importantly, that lamp. Ack certainly has a couple of emotes where I believe he is pretty confident in his dark rooms without a lamp, both in regular vision and HD. But maybe in this particular case, being on the big stage, you know, restreamed, you know, live event, maybe he's more comfortable, of course, with a little bit of a light source.
Yeah, we'll have to see. You know, it could just be the case that Ag is required for Dark World access.
That is also very correct.
We haven't seen any of the pieces so far for Dark World. We do have a sword now.
We have a sword. Okay, a sword's always happy to see, right? In this case, yeah. Yeah, you only need one. You would certainly prefer another one when you get to some more Dark World bosses, but one with boots, especially this early, you're never gonna turn that down.
No, for sure. Definitely makes the dashing a lot easier.
Do you think it makes bomb throwing easier, out of curiosity? Just asking for a friend or a shy guy.
You know, it could help. Okay. It could hurt.
It could. Okay, that's true. All right, you know what? How about thalane puts the sword back, and then we're gonna do a little experiment here. We're also saying hello to Race Administrator Bob, also affiliated with the new ladder. Okay, but in this case, only 5 rupees. Could be a shield, potentially. We actually did get a fighter shield early on. We only have 1 bottle, so can't be a replacement for that. But of course, I think we've seen earlier, Ack with his very #1 seed capable of play going over to Saha early. He is going to be able to activate that flute. Where thalane, just a little bit of minor time loss. Gonna have to go and get it a little bit later and come back to Kakariko for it.
Yeah, it's definitely a #1 seed play to remember to activate that early flute you got, because you know maybe a #2, #3 seed they would walk right by. And like they'd be down at race game and be like, "Oh man."
You're right. I mean, what kind of person would actually forget anything that happens at race game or the library for that matter? Jeez, like. For context, Ack may or may not have forgotten that last night in his race against Kongster. So you know, of course, you know, true to his undefeated record, still pull out the win. So you know, can't complain about results. But looks like thalane's gonna put off the flute just a little bit earlier. So okay. So Korik, I guess in your opinion, like, you know, if you really think it's gonna be Agassi, would you go to Agina like early? Would you like, or would you just do like the normal kind of like, you know, your typical route in this case? Unless your typical route includes Agina, of course.
In this particular seed, given that we've seen the bow early, I think that going to Agina is a very reasonable choice here. You know, we know that the bow is on Lumberjack. We might be planning for Agina anyway, and we haven't seen a single glove or the hammer, or the Moon Pearl even.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's
it
true.
could be the case where we end up, you know, doing Aga and still not having Dark World access, having to grab the bow and getting it out of Eastern or something. You know.
Oh, Korik, never skip EP. You know what? How could I absolutely forget about the fact that we can actually need. Did Ack just skip race game? Okay, you know what? Maybe Ack should have left the flute on its own in Saha before going over to Kakariko. I don't think we saw anything on race game, right? Because thalane just even quit out, so he was.
Yeah. Thalane did go for the Agina play. I mean, that's unfortunate because, you know, we know that the flute's available. Ack will be able to do all of this South Shore quite a bit more efficiently, but it makes a ton of sense why Thalane routed it the way he did. Thalane now going for the front of Escape. Hard to know whether he's like thinking about delaying the other side of South Shore for rupees, maybe. We know Zora has played a big part in several races this weekend so far.
So yeah, I was actually gonna ask because if you already happen to know that it is an Agassi, oh jeez, we have a hook shot here in the front of Escape. It certainly seems kind of reasonable, maybe, that you can leave, all of Escape, maybe towards like the later part of your light world, so you can, you don't have to come back to Escape twice, right? Basically.
Yeah, that's a typical play as well. I think from Thalane's perspective, he's in a situation where there's like some potential inefficiencies with any of his choices, so he just decided, I'm just gonna go for the front of Escape. The Uncle Tunnel has 2 guaranteed items. We'll get the front of Escape cleared out, and maybe I can get some rupees there.
Also a good point. Yeah.
We do see Ack picking up the Master Sword, so that's another piece for that potential Aga play.
Oh, we picked up an Ice Rod, actually, and Thalane picking up a little bit of magic, actually. actually in the Uncle Tunnel, we're actually going to be able to take down some blue guards pretty quickly. This almost just as if it's a standard-ish start.
Yeah,
in this case.
Ice Rod is so nice for escape. Strangely, you can kill the blue guards with one shot. Not the green guards, but the blue guards.
Yeah, that's actually, I think the green guards are the sole reason why we can't have an Ice Rod start.
That's correct.
As much as we possibly, much would like to. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Front of Escape is actually really loaded in this case. We got a book.
Yeah, Thalane's not very happy about that book though,
also
because
good point. Yes.
he has already gotten the long way over here to the desert area. Now Ack came over here with a nice little flute. No big deal, pretty quick.
I'm sure, every single time he uses the flute to somewhere, let's say Gina, maybe it's the healing part of the damage that he took earlier about skipping race game, given everything that's gonna happen yesterday. Ooh, all right. Heart piece, thankfully not a refill. But I think Thalane, right? Thalane. I forgot about the double heartbeats. So we're going to just have to bear with it before Thalane gets the mirror, or let's just hope in this case Thalane goes completely damageless for the rest of the scene.
So Thalane's heading here for the Dark Cross chest. I wonder if he's going to do the whole of Escape in the dark.
Yeah, right. So he has the Fire Rod, right? So this is actually, at least Dark Cross is in logic, right?
I think the whole thing is in logic with
Oh, because we
Fire
can get
Rod.
all the way to the back, right? With torches.
Now, it could be a bit of a pain, but, he only has 2 Fire Rod shots. So, it can be a little bit slow, but at the same time, it's doable if he wants to do it.
Yeah, and wouldn't he be really rewarded, though, if he finds something good here in the back of Escape, right? Oh, he does have an item. That is actually, I think, a reward in itself. It could have actually just been the map, right? Maybe, Ack among his many travels here up on the mountain. He doesn't have the hook shot, but, maybe somewhere else that there's just a glove and then the back of Escape is free, right?
That's true.
And it could have, and the map very well could have just been a Dark Cross.
Yep.
But in this particular case, it's not. Did Ack just die again?
He did.
Okay, but he was.
Yeah, he turned in the old man.
Okay,
it's fine.
All right, okay. If you're just getting a health refill for the rest of the mountain, it's all good. Everything is calculated, just like the tactical escape or not checking race game. That's all good.
Thalane did a really nice job going through those dark rooms. It can sometimes be tough to find that key rat.
Oh, with the flippers even.
And
the extra map at the very end, just for completeness. Always like to be able to to kit every chest uncovered everywhere we go.
Yep, and Ack just yellowing the item here on Spec Rock.
Yeah, not quite worth it, but yeah. So right, Ack is kind of missing pieces. Well, he's missing in this case several pieces that Thalane actually has from in this case Escape. Right, he's got he's missing the flippers. He's missing the book. More point, he's missing the hook shot, which is definitely gonna get him a lot more access to the mountain. But you know what? Speaking of, he's just gonna go right now to the front of Escape, get that hook shot.
Yeah, it is interesting. We still haven't seen any of the items for Dark World, the traditional access. We have the Master Sword, but we don't have the lamp, so running kind of low on locations and still no way to the Dark World. So it might be Penn and Eastern needs to be dipped at least now.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's not a double dip, but we do have Paradox Cave. Could just be the lamp over there.
So I guess the fact that Ack just pulled the hook shot, and as you mentioned, we got Paradox Cave. Would he still do what Thalane did? Finish up front of Escape and then go to the back, right, for Dark Cross and all the way?
That's a really good question. He might just. It's very reasonable to just say I'll put that off because I think I'm going to be coming back here. It's not that bad to go through it in the dark if you've done it enough times, but it can be a little bit extra time. Like the key rack can just get a little bit lost on you if you don't have magic, although Ack has plenty of magic.
Yeah, that's true. Torches. From Mini Moldarm Cave, yeah, from the drops at least. Speaking of Eastern Palace, Thalane, he did pick up the flute. His reaction to picking it up wasn't... I don't know if that was intended or not, but he wasn't, quite maybe the happiest he's ever been. But we're going into Penn and Eastern. So and as you said, right, even though we do have the Summon the Mountain, we are kind of something could very well be here, and Thalane has actually made a really good play. Versus Ack, he may not come here for at least a little bit. He just picked up the book, picked up the hook shot. He knows he has mountain access. Like,
yeah,
so.
I would say that Thalane might be making this play because he's had a little bit of bad luck on his start with. I think he's probably thinking, oh, I did a Gina and it wasn't worth anything, and then I got the book and now I have to run a long way back. He might be thinking. Like under a normal circumstance, maybe that flute makes him go and change his route because he hasn't done mini Moldorm Cave yet, which is, usually a much higher value location than Pendant Eastern. But he might be saying, you know what, let's make a play here. It's right here. It could easily be an item we need, and it's a pendant, so I probably don't have to come back to it.
Well, it is, but unfortunately it is the green pendant, so I don't know. I mean, it has certainly been known to kind of lure people into completing this this particular dungeon for that one extra item.
Very true.
I'm not quite sure if I'm familiar with this particular Stalfos room, but it's he finished it. And he got a big magic throw. Oh wow, though.
That's
a
nice pull from.
Korek never skip EP for everyone involved, right? Like this is why you don't skip out in Eastern Palace. Thalane picking up the Cane of Samaria. That is a quite nice find.
Yeah, it's a great find. It remains to be seen how important it's going to be, like in the race versus maybe Ack just comes here because it's an Aga Dark World anyway, and he says, you know what, I can flute over there. Although he doesn't have a glove, so it's still a little bit of a pain, but he can still flute and get back here. Not too much difficulty.
I was gonna say though, for Thalane's, penchants for going into Ice Palace as fast as Shy Guy possible, I think the Cane of Samaria is a great asset in his endeavor in order to get into his favorite dungeon. Ack is actually lighting up the torches, a little bit more extra magic than Thalane had. Thalane. I forgot about the double harpies. It's okay, it's okay. This is, you know what? We're still riding the high from getting the Cane of Samaria from Eastern Palace. I think we can at least accept this particular Denver. And of course, we already know, of course, the one and only bow sitting on top of Lumberjack, so we're not going to have to finish the dungeon, at least right now.
That's right, and I think Thalane got all 3 items out of there, so fingers crossed they don't have to go back, but it's definitely a possibility.
I'm glad you were counting. I was already traumatized enough and distracted from the double harpies. Where is so Ack fluted to 6.
I think he was thinking about desert, and then he realized, oh wait, I have all of these stuff mountain.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's also very. Oh my gosh, though. Talk about getting dead rocked. Oh, poor Ack. Oh, but he fits. You know what? So this is the pre-Fogo link. We have not stuffed ourselves with an enormous amount of meat and food, so we can still fit through this dead rock. But I mean, actually, come Saturday night and Sunday, we're gonna have to, maybe. Okay, alright, so Ack has made his one over here. Thalane, I guess this is the closest, right? Yeah, to Mini Moldorm. So he's already done the dam, so... and I think, as you mentioned, right, maybe Thalane's kind of put off South Shore a little bit in order to farm a little bit of extra cash. We, unfortunately, are not much richer.
Yeah, money did not show up, so... yeah, we'll have to see. Like, we had to find something up here on Death Mountain, I think. Even if it's just a lamp.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. We are, Aga is, that's right. There was a second sword up here.
I guess we also have desert.
With the fire rod, right? Yeah. That was just sitting in Lost Woods. That is our fire source.
But we can't beat desert yet. We don't have a glove. But hopefully, like, I mean, there has to be something in Spiral Cave or desert, right? Like. Yeah,
and and of course we just ended up seeing something that is, in Desert Palace, right? Like, for example, a glove, right? We are definitely, Thalane's gonna be able to claim his first crystal. Though, speaking of so the mountain so far, Paradox 7 dense items.
Yeah.
Not really worth it. Oh, there's a mushroom. Good.
No, can't squeeze through that one.
Yeah. But we're just gonna take a slight detour around. But as you said, so we are. I think we're really running low here on locations. We can't even do Aga yet, right? Because of no lamp. So
I mean, if you really want to, you can.
yeah, that is
you know.
true. That is true. That is true. Maybe we can actually see, you know, the Act the No Lamp, you know, HD in action. I would really like to be able to see that here from him.
Okay, I think there's got to be something here in Desert, or else I'm forgetting something here.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Act does need to survive the Spiral Cave in order to make its way over there, though.
Oh, I guess that we have Zora's Domain, so I am forgetting something.
Oh, okay, but we did find the lamp
Okay.
in Vanilla Vicky Chest of Desert Palace.
So this is a weird situation where it's like, okay, maybe I could find Dark World access some other way, but I know the bow is there. I know the bow is probably required. I think you just go do that even before Zora's Domain if you're thalane, because you can just like save up money and go do it later.
Yeah, very good. And the fact that he does have the flute now, right? You know, certainly it's going to be no harm to him. Oh, but oh my gosh.
Okay.
If we weren't short of fire swords and glove before, we definitely have. Desert is just it's like the care package for itself, right? It's like, yeah, you need to go get the crystal. I'll give you the glove and the lamp. What's the problem?
That's
wow.
Nice finds for thalane here. Ack is going to be having to leave Zora behind. We do see a bottle there. You might actually get another bottle somewhere else later. So that's not a big deal.
Where is Ack? Oh, Ack maybe wants to hobo. I think he also maybe didn't get it. We didn't get a scout on the island, yes. And of course, Ack was very kind in the last race to remind the commentators that there was in fact a Cane of Samari sitting at Lake Hylia Island. Just 3 bombs, so we can forget about it this time. But things certainly look, at least for the early game, pretty nice for thalane. He is going to be, I guess, the first to whatever he wants to do, right? It's going to be Aga, or maybe in this case, it's going to be, or whatever else I guess he wants to do.
Yeah, I mean, he still could do Paradox Cave and Spiral Cave before Aga. That would make a ton of sense. You know, it could still just be a hammer up there from his perspective. So,
yeah.
I would expect that he does that. Neither of them have Pearl yet either, which is. That's the really interesting thing is...
So are we going back to Eastern? No, for the green pendant?
It's possible that Moon Pearl's on green pendant. Absolutely, it's possible.
Oh, that is a very nice fire. Well, oh, I thought he got everything, but still quite nice for shots. Yeah, but I was gonna say, like, we can do Aga now. We have the care package and everything, but we don't have the Pearl, as you said, right? So then, like, even if we get to the Dark World, we can check Pyramid. That's kind of it, right?
That's it. We have Zora. We do
have Zora. Do you? Oh wait, we have a glove. So at least the money farming isn't going to be too bad. But I guess that could be some. I don't know. I mean, do you think that's going to be a worthwhile time investment because it doesn't look like we're going to get much more funding out of between like thalane and Ack here.
I think knowing that the bow is on Lumberjack and knowing that there's like only 2 out of 7 it's 2 of the 7 dungeons in the Dark World are pendants, you probably just go for Aga. Even though it seems like a low % for the Moon Pearl, it seems like the right play to me.
I think that's also very reasonable. I think thalane was so eager to rescue the old man that he started dashing, and it's certainly one thing to kind of. Take somebody else not at their capacity or speed, and it kind of it's more of those the sum of his parts is like worse than like everything together. So I think thalane learned his lesson very quickly.
I like to imagine, like, what does the old man think when that's happening?
Slow down with his cane, shaking his hand, against the cloud, whatever. So, all right. So that was Ack's lamp and glove off of Torch. So with 1 heart, he should be fine, right? Right.
He should be fine. There isn't. I mean, you could just get sniped by a BMOS, sure, but he should be fine.
Okay, he should be fine. Yeah. I mean, he's on Fire Rod, right? He's no one's ever died on Landmos before.
If he was worried, he would have just walked right into the BMOS there and taken a death warp. So
fair enough.
He is confident. It will be fine.
He does also the Cane of Burna. I think that was also in that was early in Kakariko if he really wants it. But as you said, with the Mini Moldarm, thank you, Lake Force. But I think as you said, he's probably confident in this fight, and especially this case with the Fire Rod or Ice Rod for that matter, whatever else, he shouldn't be taking any damage. Alright. Oh, there was also a blue boomerang up here. That's also very. If we're gonna go climb Aga Tower, very underrated item to be able to be used up by Jack.
So there are actually heart pots down there at the bottom. If it might have been a little bit faster to go down and grab that rather than going all the way back across the screen.
To being chased.
You know, it's fine. It's fine.
Ack was talking about having some like Benny Hill music, like playing at his behind. I don't know if that was what he was going for. All right. Ooh. Oh, that was very close. But he landed 5 shots, which is really great. So okay. No, but nobody's more. I think the Igor was more of a threat than in this case the Lambos. Okay. All right.
So. Thalane has done the Eastern Dip. Ack has done a peek at Zora's Domain and Waterfall Ferry. And otherwise, I think they're very similarly positioned.
And Ack has done Hobo too? Did Thalane already do Hobo? Maybe
Thalane did Hobo immediately after
that's right.
getting the flippers, I believe.
That's right. All right, so this actually looks like the Ack play.
Yes, it most certainly does.
Oh, and Thalane though, so he's actually thinking about the flipper check. So this is actually gonna be this is a probably more commonly seen Houlihan in Rando, because you have this is actually just a faster version. Only because in this case you have the glove.
Right.
Yeah.
So Thalane has not made any trip into Zora's Domain yet, so he has 4 items up there now. I can see why he would do this before Aga, whereas Ack decided to just isolate Zora for now. And therefore, taking the time for the Houlihan, you know, it's definitely a more costly decision, potentially. So, Ack making his climb. I guess Thalane had not done Ice Ride Cave yet either.
Oh, okay. So this actually should be quite good for him then. He's gonna be able to do Waterfall Ferry as well, and he has a bottle now, so he can actually kind of take a peek as to maybe a potentially good safety that we can get out of there. Yeah,
and he did lift that rock. I don't know if that was just for fun or okay, it was just for fun.
Okay, all right.
I mean, there's a
having fun in
situation
Rando.
here
I agree.
where Thalane ends up with Pod being the only thing he can do, and he has less than 110 rupees.
Oh yeah, we've definitely seen that before. Where we try to Houlihan to get Zora, and then we can't even afford chess game. You know, when we get into Dark World, right? Let alone Pod or like Dig Game or something. Yeah. So actually, potentially by skipping out an Easter at least temporarily, and I can't believe I'm actually saying this for Ack, but I mean like, so if we don't find anything on Zora, like. I guess maybe this means that Ack's going to be able to single dip Easter? Maybe that's kind of what he was hoping out for? Or holding out for?
I think he was hoping not to go in there at all.
Oh, okay. That's also a good point. That's also a good point.
But, that being said, it's looking more and more likely. We have Pyramid and Green Pendant after we see what's on Zora. So, I mean, that Green Pendant could very well be the next piece. It could be, you know, Moon Pearl. It could be Hammer to get into Hera or something. Like, who knows? Oh,
yeah. yeah. That's, oh my gosh. Well, that would be quite the item.
For, like, Vanilla Moon Pearl?
Yeah,
I mean, that would be fun, right?
Yeah. Well, I guess don't skip on Hera Basement. We have a 3rd sword on Zora. That is actually a very interesting find for Thalane. You know, as you said, right? As Ack has already taken a peek at Zora Ledge, so when is he going to go back? I mean, he will eventually amass enough money, but again, right? Maybe he wants to save it with Catfish, with Amir, but it is kind of like off by its lonesome right now.
Yeah, I don't see Ack going for Zora anytime soon. Now, he could get bailed out. There is one more sword out there that, you know, for Thalane, it will just look like a green 20. But for Ack, it could just be his tempered sword.
Yeah, and
so.
Ack, I think Ack would be very happy to see that tempered sword. But, all right, well, in this case, though, but yeah, and I think with the tempered sword, right, I mean, even though NMG level basically held offensive-wise, equipment-wise, Ack has pretty much got it to a T. Thalane, though, of course, is going to have a bit more extra firepower, not, of course, with Fire Rod, that, of course, Ack has, but also with the tempered sword, right? So.
Yeah, the Fire Rod does speed up most of the rooms in here as much as you get with the tempered sword, but it's definitely going to help out, and especially some of the later rooms here.
Yeah, but like so if in this case, so I think if you're rooting for Thalane, you want what? Let's say, oh my gosh. And the chest turn of Acktheboker. When you do the chest turn to the right, what Matt has said before is that you get to read the enemy RNG because your light cone is to the right. So you can kind of predict, in this case, like how you're supposed to execute the room.
Right.
Yeah, so that's a really cool chest turn. But I was gonna say, so if you're rooting for the lane, you kind of maybe want Pearl to be on Pyramid, because then you can keep going.
Right.
But I think if you're rooting for Ack, you want the Pearl to be on Green Pendant, right? Because that will force him back to Eastern and then get the Kasamaria.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the bow is required, so Aga was required.
Very nice. All right, here we go. Ack is hopping over to the Pyramid, and we see... It's the Pearl. Oh, it's the Pearl. So Ack, alright. So Ack, I think, is happy. He's got pod money. The lane has a very nice number of rupees, but oh man. So the lane's probably gonna go to. Well, I guess Ack is gonna go maybe Catfish as well, or over to the Village Outcast, right?
I think this might be a Village Outcast play, but yeah, definitely going that way. Yeah, it's really hard to say when Ack would end up getting to Eastern at this point. That could be over his head for a very long time here. Yeah. Oh wow.
Well, he will have the bow. Maybe this is so maybe Eastern is not going to be as unpalatable as it may be before. Because if you want to dip in Eastern without the bow, right? But we do see, of course, Link Force has already marked everything on our tracker for us. Turtle Rock, of course, is a crystal. We absolutely are going to need that King of Samaria, so Ack cannot skip out on it.
Now, that could make things interesting later in that maybe the lane will be in a position where he'll look for items in Turtle Rock where Ack won't have that decision to make, and that could end up changing things for Ack's favor or even more behind. But Ack does get his mitts.
Find, okay, so mitts are great, especially, one of the first items you kind of find in Dark World, right? Because you're still kind of early, fresh, haven't really explored much, so you do get a lot more latitude. Again, we need, but it's like the more latitude you have, like the further out you will be for a very specific region, right? In this case, at some point, Ack has to be incentivized to kind of go back into the Eastern Palace to begin with. So,
right.
Yeah, okay, yeah, and of course, no hammer, even though Thieves Town is a crystal, I don't know. Front four, without the mirror, go in, skip it completely.
I think
go into Skullwoods. We're not that desperate.
Just got the myths. I don't know what his initial plan was, but I think because he just got the myths, he's just going to do a quick overworld sweep. Because when you have flute and myths, it's so quick to get back here. I think he's just going to do as much as he can on the overworld.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. We do hear a little bit of chatter here, I believe from a very fervent supporter of Skullwoods. I will say, though, we do have the Fire Rod, and we can see that the Skullwoods is a 5/6 crystal. We do have the powder. Very interesting. So I certainly would not be surprised to see people back there, back in the Skullwoods Village of Outcast area.
I mean, Ack is on Green Mail, Master Sword, 6 hearts.
Good, also good point.
I think it's just like, I'm going to do a loop around the world, see what I can get, see if it makes anything easier.
Like the hammer.
Like the hammer.
Like the hammer. #1 seed Acktheboker. Forget all the grief I give him. Hammer makes the moth fight significantly easier, along with the rest of our Dark World access. So my gosh, we just need a mirror, and then we can literally just do like everything that we could possibly want.
And we do see thalane is going to visit Catfish.
Yeah. Thalane certainly he is can certainly surprise people with his running decisions. Not that Catfish is like that unreasonable, I would say, after an Agassi like this, especially when he doesn't have any money in order to go into pod. But he is certainly not necessarily a stranger to Catfish. And look at that. Oh, almost the quick fish. I think he likes that trick. But Hype Cave is pretty bare.
Yeah, so I think Ack will get his bow, and then we'll have to see what he decides to do. Or wait, no, he's going to go for Dark Death Mountain, it looks like.
Yes,
yeah, hookshot's out.
I was going to say, thalane, being a little short on cash, doesn't even actually pick up the red rupee from Catfish, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. He could very well get to big game here and not have enough money for it. Maybe he just doesn't want to do it, which is fine. It takes a while sometimes.
It does. I think there were actually a little bit earlier match where people weren't actually sure if we're going to finish all 30 digs or whatever. But Ack did get the powder. It is a very nice safety, especially in this mode where health growth is very slow. You don't necessarily have safeties to potentially burn on. But in this case, it's also a lot logical check, right, for Magic Bad. So surely something has that hasn't been a big deal. It is one of our heart containers, one of our 3 effective heart containers. So, but no, of course, no cape. But I think even with a cape, it's not going to be worth it.
Yep.
All right.
So we see Ack going for Ether Tablet and Hera, and Thalane's not skipping Skullwoods.
He is not skipping Skullwoods. You know, I believe he was actually on. He was a former Team League member of you know, with Dunka. You know, for team Air 216. But of course, you know, he does have the Volcano Samari for this room. He also does have the Fire Rod. It is a crystal, 5/6 crystal. So, and he's kind of over here in this area. Certainly not beast spread. And you know, Thalane also having a tempered sword, he does not need something like a hammer in order to defeat Mothula. Or no one really needs it, right? But you're certainly not going to say no to it.
Yeah, it's definitely a.
Oh, it's not a 5/6 crystal. What is it? Oh, it's a regular crystal. Sorry, my apologies. Oh, I'm reading in a swamp. Sorry, my bad.
It's definitely a difficult fight with any equipment. If you're on potentially difficult, I should say. Sometimes Moth will cooperate and give you great RNG, and you can just do a dash and 2 slashes, and it's dead. But sometimes when you have just Master Sword and this safety, goes really poorly.
Or it could just go really poorly. It doesn't matter what.
Yeah, that's true. You can have good equipment and it still goes really poorly.
I did take a quick peek at least at one of the floors of the big chest floor of Hera. It was a map and compass. I'm not actually sure if we... I mean, I think there has to be an item in the basement for sure then. Ack is making do with only his Master Sword and Hammer, but not getting knocked down by Moldor. But Thalane, you know, pretty decent moth fights all around, so good bosses.
Both of them picking up another crystal.
Yeah, separate ones at that. But in this case, Thalane, I don't think he's picked up any items. Oh, sorry, any non-dungeon items, right?
I believe that's right. Yeah.
Because he did Manila. He just went straight to the back. Manila big key chest, and then in this case, straight to Mothula. No mirror, of course, means that the bridge chest is not, you know, not super great in order to get. And it sounds like he's gonna go back to front anyway because he wants to do probably rest of Village of Outcast, maybe Thieves Town, depending on. So makes sense.
Yep. Now Ack is gonna open up the portal up here, so we'll get a peek at the medallion requirement. But you know, Ack is maybe thinking, hey, I could get a mirror up here, go back in, but you know, he's not gonna get the cane up here.
That is certainly true. We do need ether for Turtle Rock today, so at least one requisite medallion. Mire is a pendant, but you know, when was the last time we always saw a required progression in pendant dungeon?
It's very possible by the time that Thalane gets up there, since he's being more thorough on this first route, that he does have that ether medallion. Who knows? We don't know where it is, but okay, never mind. Well,
well, he can't open up, and of course he doesn't have.
Well, maybe he'll have the mirror so that, you know.
Perfect. Yes.
Thalane could have the mirror so he can go into Turtle Rock when he's up there.
Unless, of course, Ack just finds the mirror right here, right? In Super
Right.
Money, is that how we're gonna go? But you know what? We're still holding out on the progression in Skullwoods. That is absolutely sure to be. Oh my god!
Well, Thalane will be going into Turtle Rock when he gets up
I think Thalane is. Oh my gosh! Yeah, you're right. Thalane's gonna be able to actually full clear out Turtle Rock when we get there. Well then.
Actually, hold on a second. What is that go mode once he gets mitts?
We still need a. Well, yeah, we're gonna need the hammer. We're gonna need. Ether.
Okay, when he gets down.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Stumpy.
Oh my gosh, I think you're right.
Thalane could be in go mode within the next few minutes here.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. So Thalane needs money for go mode. Does that count?
It could.
Okay.
Ack is having a fun time with just some bees.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And the fact that Thalane even went over to Zora to buy his third sword, Thalane's going to be super comfortable. Holy cow.
So we were saying, 15, 20 minutes ago, what is what is that Eastern play going to mean for Ack in this seed? And I think now we.
Oh my gosh.
Now we know.
This is really brutal then for Ack.
Now Thalane could choose to full clear Thieves Town while he's here without the hammer. It's perfectly reasonable play. But regardless, if he does an overworld route or if he just clears everything in front of him, he's still going to find his go mode within his next few checks.
That is amazing. Look at the time, Korek. Like it's 37 minutes. He's gonna kill out the village. I mean, as you said, he might be in go mode honestly, and then like under the 40-minute mark.
Right.
Got his mitts. Like, look at the lane too. Like his expression. He's like, oh.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he puts off the mountain. Maybe he does pod. It doesn't matter. He's going to do only dungeons and go up the mountain. Any experienced player, those are going to be your priorities. You're going to full clear crystal dungeons. You're going to go up for Death Mountain. So,
holy cow!
You know, he's not going to do anything extra. Whereas on Ack's side, we don't know what extra he's going to do. Like.
Yeah, and it's all, oh my gosh, I think this was a great time to believe in Eastern Palace. Also to believe in Skull Woods, for the record, because the mirror was there. But we did, of course, have the Fire Rod. I would like to also not believe in Thalane's double heart beeps, please. I mean,
Thalane could like take some extra deaths, I guess. Yeah. I didn't count for the extra deaths. He does have blue mail, but still on Oko.
That's not helping right now.
Still on Oko. So, you know, very useful blue mail. I mean, he'd already be dead if he didn't have the blue mail. So
can we put the blue mail back? Because if you were already dead, then we would at least get rid of the double heart beeps. We have to listen to this entire thing. The climb of Beasttown. Alright, he better pick up a heart here. Like, I know he has a fairy. That actually might be the sole deterrent. Okay, alright, thank you, Thalane. And he got the hook. Thank you. But actually, yeah, also, you know, kind of also notably, right, Ack does have a couple more, you know, based on his overworld loop, the initial loop, right, he actually, I think he had a little bit more safety, heart pieces, in order to get himself a bit more health.
Yeah, I guess the one thing that's interesting from Thalane's side is, once he gets a hammer, he'll be in a medallion go mode, right?
But I think, would that incentivize you more, though, to just go up the mountain immediately to go check?
It's interesting, right? Because knowing what medallion he needs, on the one hand, maybe he'll make that decision to go up and check it. On the other hand, maybe he's like, you know what, I'm just going to keep clearing until I find at least one medallion, and then...
that's also a good point, too. To kind of, like, hedge your bets, right?
I mean, he you know, could just climb the mountain a single time here very easily. But then we're looking at how much of Swamp Palace does he end up doing. Like, if he's on 0 medallions, does he, like, go back in for a left side? Like, who knows? I mean, Ack's probably going to do that anyway, and he's never going to get to Eastern, so...
Yeah, no, that's actually a really, really good point. I totally forgot about it's kind of like easy to kind of forget when you're looking at like two runners side by side, because you have too much information, right? But you have to like concentrate on the like what does the lane only see, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, knowing what we know, like the lane could be done with the seed in like half an hour, but he doesn't know that.
Yes, that is very correct, right? Okay. I unfortunately, did we see the map? I know we saw the compass, or maybe we saw one of them. I'm not sure if we saw both. We're gonna find out on Ack's side because he has the hammer. Yeah. It is okay. So Thalane is gonna leave an item behind. He is not gonna feel great exiting Thieves Town because Blind's gonna in this case drop, I think, what the map or something. But I think, as you said, right, once he in this case goes over to Stumpy and then goes up the mountain eventually, he's gonna feel great. And probably at this point, once he kind of gets the hammer, right, he is not going to put like the big chest of Thieves Town kind of like on the priority list.
Yeah, I don't see that ever being checked by Thalane.
Well, certainly not at this point, but man, that Eastern Palace tip is so valuable for Thalane as opposed to Ack. Alright, that is crystal number, whatever. That's the third crystal down for Thalane. Very, very closely followed by a third crystal down for Ack. So I guess, okay, if you're at Ack's shoes, you've already done the one loop, you've got the hammer back, you've already gone up the mountain. We don't have the mirror yet? I guess we're going to do Skull Woods?
Yeah, I think Ack is going to go for Skull Woods. He'll get his mirror. At that point, he'll probably go for Swamp. And then Pod.
Yeah, that's right. We have another crystal.
He might do Pod before Swamp, but those will be his next two locations. At that point, who knows?
Yeah, and I guess maybe again, it sounds like it depends on this case, like what the lane's gonna end up doing in terms of dungeons. If he wants to try and hedge his best for medallions, he just wants the information before it goes up the mountain. If there's an early big key, maybe the key is just on Bolok's side of pod, and there's a small key there. You know, we can basically just skip all of pod in the back.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, like that would be that would be a huge time save for Thalane. Ack is not gonna be able to have that luxury.
It just depends if Thalane scouts out the medallion requirements for Turtle Rock. I don't think he will, honestly. Because right now he's probably thinking, oh, I can just climb one time if I just find, you know, one more item or something.
So Thalane specifically dug for exactly 101 rupee. Like he knows he knows he needs 110, right?
That's a fair point.
Okay.
Actually, he needs 120 because.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's very right.
But you know, he'll find it, right? There's a lot of money in hype caves and nothing else, right?
That he will definitely get enough pod money, correct, from hype cave, yes.
Now the interesting thing with Ack, I think the typical play most people would do is to do pod before swamp because nobody wants to do left side of swamp or anything like that. But it could work out for him if he did swamp first. If he's at pod and then he has like all bad options, maybe then he would mirror and do eastern. But if he does pod first, he's not going to do an eastern dip before he does swamp. So
yeah, especially with the flute, right? He always think I can always come back later in his mind, right?
Exactly.
He doesn't have to make that decision.
So it would be very good for Ack if he did swamp first, because I think if he did it that way, he would probably make Eastern his first check out of the bad checks, or at least there's a good chance of it. But otherwise, it might be his last location. So
yeah, you know. All right. Well, we're gonna. So certainly, if you're rooting for Ack, you definitely want him at some point to get funneled back into Eastern. But I think, as Korik has mentioned, the likelihood of this kind of happening is a little bit on the slimmer side. All right, Moth down for Ack. Oh yeah, and also as part of offense, right? Even though Ack does have a ton of cash to his name, contrary to what Thalane has, he, you know, at this point, Zora is somewhat still isolated. Ack can still, of course, go to Catfish, mirror over, but again, it is still quite a bit of time commitment for two checks like that.
Yeah, he's going to have that sword disadvantage for the near future. Obviously, there's a lot of chests to open in Swamp, a lot of chests to open in Pod, so it could show up the other sword, but until it does, that's a pretty significant advantage that Thalane has over Ack as well.
Yeah, and Thalane, oh my god, and he gets silver from purple chest.
And there's another one.
Oh my gosh, these are definitely okay. Well, at least you know, Ack does have the mirror from Skullwoods, which is certainly, you know, is going to make the Smith chain a bit more palatable, but.
But Ack is going for pod first, which I was a little worried about because it was the most likely play that I saw him doing, and now at Eastern, Eastern's not happening. So,
although speaking of though, you know, so Thalane unfortunately didn't get very much value. Sorry, he got a lot of commodity value from the silvers. He did not get enough spending cash value from the rest of his endeavors. So no pod dip yet, but again, as you said, maybe he's gonna hope in this case for hype key to pay out. But although from this route, I mean, he gets pod money. He's going to pod. He's not gonna go to swamp. Hopefully, because he is closer to swamp technically.
I mean, I'm a little bit curious why he wouldn't have just gone into swamp there. It's probably to do with, you know, maybe I can find at least one medallion here, and then I can feel good about skipping stuff in swamp. But realistically, like, you're taking 4 extra screen transitions here for not much reason, really, because he's in a medallion go mode, right? Yeah. And if he finds a medallion here, that doesn't mean he's in go mode, right? Because he won't know
exactly
from his position that he's there. So it looks like
Ack is actually trying to sequence break out. Well, not sequence break out. He's going to take a little shortcut over to the Bolok side, but you know what? Never mind. Thalane is going to find out that he is in go mode. Like,
yes.
Very soon.
He will.
1 minute, maybe.
It depends on how he routes this. He could get all the items over here first, or he could go. Well, he has a mirror, and he's not doing Hera first, so yeah, he's gonna find it first.
I guess it's anywhere, especially with like boots, right? You can just literally, and the mirror, of course, you just mirror over, run back and forth if you really need to. It's not going to be too big of a time cost.
Yeah, I think this is a smart play. It's a hard thing to decide what to do where, you know, having the knowledge of what medallion you need is very, very valuable, but climbing the mountain an extra time when you don't need to is pretty costly as well. But I think this is a smart play. It's a good trade-off, I think.
Yeah, and also maybe potentially, like, if he still doesn't have the medallion, maybe he can make a better decision about skipping out Hera basement or not. Versus if he doesn't know anything, then maybe he'll just have to go do it, and that's just another, like, time, minute time commitment. Alright, so Ack has decided to at least go over to the bowlock side with his bow. In logic, just not quite the shortcut that is actually quite difficult to execute. That is... by 20 minutes ago, you were correct. You was like, by the time thalane comes up here, he'll probably have the mirror in order to be able to get into Turtle Rock. And you know what? He's going to pick up his Ether Medallion in what, like 3 more checks?
Yeah.
2 more checks?
And then it's just, he gets to pick the order to do the dungeon. It's all up to him.
That is a very, very stoic. He even knew at that point. Didn't even check the last check. He already has silvers. He's got tempered sword. He is in go mode, just shy of the 48-minute mark. This is. Thalane has routed this so amazingly well, and it's all because of not skipping out at Eastern Palace. This is amazing.
Yeah, it's one of the most dangerous parts of, I don't know if dangerous is the right words, but the regular, like, standard open seeds, leaving an item in Sphere 1, it can just completely make a race completely lopsided, and we're just seeing it here. Thalane has 4 dungeons to go mode here, and Ack is going to be opening chest after chest after chest.
Yeah. I mean, right, and for what it's worth, we did see Ack just pick up the big key and pause, so it is in the back, so he's not going to save as much time, but, as we're kind of seeing still on Ack's side, right, he is still searching for the Cane of Samaria, and, well, while it's not exactly like a medallion search, in this case, it could be, in this case, it can't be Turtle Rock, for example, right, but, as you said, he's opening up, he's going to... Eastern Palace is not going to be high priority on his checklist of things to go look for, And the difference I think between, right, especially for example, Swamp Palace being go mode for Thalane versus a not go mode Swamp Palace for Ack, because why would you go to Eastern before Swamp?
Right.
Is going to be quite the time difference, and yeah.
I mean, it's not just that. We might see Ack in Meyer, depending on what that medallion is. We might see Ack.
I wouldn't want to think about
Palace,
that. Yeah.
Like, we just don't know.
That's actually very true. Yeah. I mean, I guess for what it's worth, if he does do Smith Chain with the mirror, he will get rewarded with silvers. Especially Ack right now, his loadout Master Sword silverless, not probably the best equipment that he's looking forward to fighting in the end game. So at least he'll be, a little bit satisfied with, but I think the timer right now, I think is like very, very quickly. I don't even know how much. I don't know how much buffer right now that Ack has. Although that might help.
Yeah, Thalane just giving him a little bit of a spot here. Chomps. We do have blue mail, but Thalane is still on 8 hearts, so you can't take that many hits from the Chomps. If it gets away from you, you might just be dead here.
I think we can take 1 right now from what it looks like.
The good news is he does have some time to spare the way things sit currently.
How do you think Thalane must be feeling? Because, routing-wise, this seems like such a good route. Like, the Cane of Samaria that you found in Eastern Palace, pen in Eastern early, just seems to be so good.
Right. I think Thalane was a little bit off on his early route.
Oh my goodness, Thalane!
I think he was legit worried about his early route, where he went over to Agina, and then he found the book, and then he found the flute, and all of that. But while I would never wish any harm or negativity upon any racer, can we just hope that Thalane dies, please? He does have the powder, for what it's worth, so maybe he can powder a couple anti-fairies, but please, Thalane, be kind. I think with everything that happened since the cane, when you find the cane early there, and then now that he's seen what the other items are, there's a really good chance that he feels pretty good about how it's going.
Yeah,
right now.
you could tell, from his very stoic and stone face expression that he is, yes, feeling great. But maybe this is just a cultural thing. Who knows? Or maybe he just wants all of us to suffer with him. Who knows? right. That was that was it. That was also pod down for Ack. That again that is another crystal for him. But where are we going to? Are we doing?
Well, he saved it quick and ended up on the pyramid, and now he's running the swamp.
Oh, I see.
Way.
Okay, so maybe it's faster just to run.
I don't know
or maybe
about
it's
that.
a mirror and then save and quit again.
I don't know. I think I did time it before and it wasn't faster, but it gets you here.
That is true. It does get you here. It was momentary distraction while thalane still had his double heartbeat, so I do appreciate it. That was a vanilla big key in Turtle Rock, right? That's why thalane's going outside?
Yes, it
okay.
was a vanilla big key.
Okay, so we do have a bug net. Bug net, I would consider underrated item here in this particular mode. Again, safeties are kind of coming at a premium. You never really kind of get one for free, and the fact that we do have powder, might also, incentivize thalane to maybe, powder and catch a fairy.
Yeah, it definitely is a nice safety to have. Given that you don't have any way to get a potion outside of the fairy fountains or the potion shop, safeties can be hard to come by, and bug net can be really nice to have.
And it could be a good weapon for Aga 1 or Aga 2.
Oh, absolutely.
Certainly no one here has ever thought that the only way you could defeat Aga 1 was through the bug net. Of course not. No. But it does work. But let's see. Alright, so thalane just needs a small key, I guess for his sake. Very minor time save is he's going to be the first couple chests, or the first... Or, thalane could also just take the safety door. Very understandably, he doesn't want to go through Turtle Rock again.
Yep. Very understandable here.
Yeah. At this point, pride doesn't have to be an issue whatsoever, because if you die, it's going to be a big time save. Alright, so there is map. I was actually wondering maybe if that safety door was going to be a boon, because, maybe it's just vanilla, right? It's in the very last chest. It is, it's in the very last chest, so really thalane did the good thing of opening up the safety door. It just should have just gotten the bottom chest, really.
Right.
Alright, so it looks like Ack, I actually missed what was in the first chest of Swamp Palace. I'm hoping it was an item, but Ack is at least one item go mode. He's probably going to do the back first. That is a second item, or that was a item at least as well.
I definitely expect him to go to the back first. The real question is, if there are items in here, does he come back in? It is a very big time sink to come back in, but from his perspective, it could be the item he needs. So.
Yeah, I mean the Canis Mario, well, again, it's not it's not quite the Ice Rod hunt. It is for Ack. It may as well be, because it's definitely not in his way.
And also, he has to do Diver Down here with bombs.
That's right, with bombs.
It's slightly slower.
Of course, we get the big key. I mean, is that going to incentivize him to go back with the big key, sitting right there?
It really just depends on how many items are going to be when he comes back in. If there's 3 items, he'll definitely come back in, I think.
I think especially if you're rooting for Ack, while it is seems it certainly looks like it. Thalane has a very sizable advantage. You don't want to see any more medallions. I mean, Myra, for all we know, can be Ether, but I mean, it's like the more medallions we get, the higher the chance that Myra is going to be open to us.
Yeah, it's really hard to see Ack's path to get back here, because, in some ideal scenario, right, he just says, okay, I'm done with this crystal, I'm just going to skip the items here, I'm going to go to Eastern. He makes that his first choice, right? He finds the Canis Mario, but then what? Because then he's Master Sword Silverless, and thalane
that is also a very, very good point. He can still do. I mean, Smith Chain is not unreasonable, right? He's got the hammer.
Sure.
He's got the powder. That is actually potentially, and he's got the mirror. He can do I think he hasn't done K45 or.
Right, and I think it's very likely that he does Smith Chain before he would go to Eastern. But then again, at that point, he's losing time, doing other things.
Yeah, that is true.
Because right now, Ack does have the crystal lead. He just has Turtle Rock left. The problem is he can't get in there until he goes to Eastern.
Yeah, and I think also, so in this case, correctly reading the tracker in this case, we did finish Pod on Ack's side, we did finish Swamp Palace. Those are our actual 5/6 crystals. The fact that Ack is here means there's Pyramid Fairy open to him as well. So we know nothing of value is really going to be there. Maybe another sword, sorry. That could be a value. But
oh, we see Ack leaving. Right. I'm not sure how many items were left, but he's done with that now. But yeah, he has a lot of overworld checks he can do. Doing Bombo's tablet here. He has K45, like you mentioned. He could do K45 into Pyramid Ferry, into Graveyard Ledge, into Catfish. That all sounds great, like a great efficient route, but there has nothing
Zora,
there.
For what it's worth.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Right.
I mean, he'll do Zora, he'll get a sword. That'd be great. The route's going to cost him like 5 minutes for a sword. So.
Yeah, right now, yeah, and you know, thalane, while he did end up, again, you know, this is a very dangerous mode, right? It's very hazardous environmental working conditions. So thalane did take a little bit of a tumble in Turtle Rock, did take the safety door to make sure he doesn't take another tumble. But in terms of execution, thalane has also been playing quite well.
Oh yeah, actually, like, both of them have played.
Oh yeah,
very
yeah,
well.
Well, for sure, for sure.
You know, this is just simply Rando being Rando. You know, both of them made great logical decisions, in my opinion, in the light world. They did things slightly differently, but based on what they did, their subsequent decisions made sense. It's just the fact that thalane, it made sense for thalane in the position to make that dip into Eastern, and that's really made all the difference here.
I am actually wondering how much that early flute kind of affected thalane, because you know he did not give the world's greatest expression when he found it. I think he was probably like, oh well, again, Sphere 1 item, right? You know, it was available. Maybe Ack could have actually gone here a little bit earlier, so maybe he felt like he needed to make more of a play going into the rest of Eastern. Maybe delaying it for some incentivized him to go into it more. But I mean, you know, like these are all just kind of like little things that can have rippling effects throughout the seed, right? And in this case, it was more like a tsunami. Wow, these beetles don't want the lane to get through to the back. Wow. Okay, all right, we made it. We made it. The lane is well on his way to get the biggie.
We have a red boomerang for Ack.
That is not the bent red item we're looking for on Ack's side, unfortunately.
So it does look like he's cutting off his route here. Not sure where he's going to go. Let's see.
He finished all of his clearable crystals.
Mire area makes sense. He can check Checkerboard Cave.
He's got Mire Shed.
Mire Shed. He has 2 medallions. He might be thinking Mire.
Alright, that is a big... Oh no, it's either. Well, I guess the Quake medallion didn't matter. But yeah, let's hope for this case. Oh my gosh. Would you go in, Gilrick?
Man, it's tough to say. His choices are this, Pendant Ice, Pendant Eastern, or not really great looking overworld. Smith Chain is probably better in a lot of situations. Although Ack might be thinking, well, thalane didn't skip Skull Woods, which means he probably had a cleaner route with doing Smith Chain, so maybe I should just skip that. It's hard to say.
Also, like, would the fact that you don't have the Canis Mari influence you for going into Ice Palace? Because you can't clear it, right?
Absolutely.
But it'll be slower.
Pendant Ice without the cane is a tough choice to make in you know, the environment where Icebreaker's a thing. So Ack coming into Mire here makes a lot of sense. We know it's not going to be the right answer.
He could find a sword.
He could find a sword. There's still one out there somewhere.
My guess is it's probably in GT, honestly. But, you know, we still got, you know, we're going to hold out hope here for Ack. You know, this is certainly not the first caneless Mire dip that we've seen. Even, you know, even the race earlier today, we ended up seeing it, and it gave us an extra sword. But it does look like, though, you know, as thalane's kind of clearing out, thalane made himself a really, really good route, right? As you said, he's gold moding his first of, what, 3 dungeons now at this point?
Yeah, I mean, once thalane settled into the Dark World, like, everything he did was kind of standard, really. There weren't any, like, that's not to say it was, like, bad. It's very just, it routed itself for him, which is always a really nice situation to be in as a runner. Hard decisions can be very tough. And
there's the big key.
Now, you know, thalane's early route, like we said, like when he split the South Shore to go to Agena, and then he found the book, and then he later found the flute. I think he was feeling a little bit rough at that point, but as soon as he, you know, got going with the Dark World and everything just fell into place, like just been really smooth over there.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned, right, also as part of it, like when he got the Dark World, I don't know if that was part of his intention or strategy, but also just being very, very thorough. Like he did end up going into Thieves Town without the hammer, and we do know that he left an item there, but everything else kind of like in that area, right? He is basically just taken care of as much as he could have the first time through.
Yep, very systematic.
So, yeah. But I don't think actually Ack has found any items yet. We did find the, never mind, we found one item. We did find the big key on the bridge chest very early. But looks like, I don't really actually know Myarchy logic all that well. Maybe Ack has a better sense if he knows there's a guaranteed item in the cutscene chest or in the middle of the big key chest. Maybe he'll go there first, or maybe just kind of hoping that all the other options are going to be exhausted.
Yeah, I think he's just going to get everything else before that. Yeah. Like, if he's feeling really bad, he might go to Vidi before that. I don't think he will.
Oh, but, he can't, right? Because he doesn't have the Cadence Maria.
Right.
Yeah.
Good call. Good call. Good call. Yeah, he'll do the cutscene last for sure.
Yeah, but I think.
Yeah.
Also, kind of as a contrast, we're gonna see Go mode Swamp Palace, right?
Right.
On planes with even Cadence Maria Diver down. Not that again, it's that much faster, right? But it's going to be, you know, in this case, it's just gonna be every little thing's gonna matter.
And unfortunately for Ack, he is basically as much time that can be taken up in Mire is what he's getting here. He decided to, you know, hold off on the cutscene chest. It's usually the smart play, but now he's going back and forth across the whole dungeon.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate. He will get this chest. He'll get the bad news. It might not even be the last item. And then we'll have to see. Smith Chain is still very much a reasonable play. He might be, if he's feeling really behind, Ice Palace will probably be where he goes.
That's actually true, because like I guess like as the seed like further and further progresses in terms of like time, it's also kind of like, you know, maybe consequence also of like, you know, open mode, right? If you decide to not do escape, or maybe you don't think you need to go do escape because find your Dark World access without it, it's like the longer you put off a Sphere 1 check or a set of Sphere 1 checks, like the worse it's going to feel, right? If you eventually go back to it.
Right. And so right now, Ack has just spent, you know, 4 minutes going through Mire and got one item that wasn't progression, right? So he's feeling pretty bad right now. Like, just like be honest, he's feeling a little bit down and out about this. So
you know, Korek, I think this is you've known Ack for how long now? Since 2018, 2017.
Yes.
You've certainly read him quite well in this case.
I mean, it makes the most sense from his perspective, I think. We get to see some new items. Maybe we'll see some bombos in here. Nice,
yeah,
you know?
we could. I think you know, anything that's sort of right now not lit up on the lane side in terms of items for trackers. Yeah, we're definitely not gonna see the shovel. We saw that in GT. What else could we not see? I guess we're hoping to maybe see a tempered sword, and maybe that might make Ack feel a little bit better. But I think probably anything that's at this point not, in this case, the Cadence of Mario is just not going to make it
really nice Zero cycle.
It did look very, very good. Thalane is also a very talented NMG runner. He hasn't probably run it a bit, but I do think he does have a 124 time.
Yeah, and I noticed he used the fire rod there on the last phase. That's Thalane special. You don't want to see him trying to use the silvers. It's actually much faster for Thalane to use the fire rod there.
Yeah, so no, part of playing rando in execution is that you have to be honest with yourself, not only for your strengths but also your shortcomings. And so the fact that Thalane recognizes that, even though he does have the silvers, I think it's actually, as you said, a net time gain for himself, for specifically Thalane.
So we get to see the part of Ice Palace that we don't normally get to see in Rando anymore.
Yeah, Ice Palace bomb jump, of course. Ack is also, looks like he's potentially planning to go to Cold Stair, right? Picking up some extra magic.
Yep.
He is still on Master Sword, so the Cold Stair fight is not going to be quite, you know, NMG-esque textbook. So he certainly wants a little bit more safety. But meanwhile, though, thalane also, again, you know, he finished up his crystals on the non-mountain, going up the mountain now. Always going to be kind of like a, you know, rando dream in order to be able to do Hera, you know, go into the Dark World, mirror, do Hera, and then immediately go straight into GT.
So I think Ack might have forgotten how to do the Ice Palace mountain jump, so he's just...
Oh my gosh, but you know what? Number 1 seed Acktheboker can at least, there is no obstacle that he can't cross through in Ice Palace. This is what he's shown us. I would say though, by the way, like, you know, we are seeing like, you know, like a lot of, you know, people hovering like in the comfort of their own homes, right? You know, and when they're in very familiar situations, you know, on their own, like whatever, desk or chair or whatever, Ack is here on stage and he just pulls it out and just goes, right? Actually,
yep.
Much harder feat than what he makes it look like. What a nice fairy to be able to get through these spikes. That is Ack's probably favorite friend at this point. Is that Bari?
Yep. And meanwhile, thalane's going into his last crystal dungeon. It's a real quick one, especially with our wonderful. Well, what are we doing here, Thalane?
That is a good question. Maybe this is muscle memory.
Yeah, I think we saw a little head shake there. He's wondering what he's doing himself. There we go.
Right,
that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Nice
well, yeah, very well executed, very fast Herapod. Yeah, and it never is a feel good moment when you end up like soft locking on there because you forget to push left and it's just not good. But you know we got Tempered Sword, you know, and we've got oh wow. You know what? Thalane at this point, if he continues his route, he's going to be undefeated going to Brackus even with a 4-0 record, and so it's gonna be quite good. All right, so we saw that's one item in Ice Palace.
That's a good question. I have
that was only a heart piece on Ack's side. That was a second heart piece in Ack's side, and I think that is his. That must be the third item because he's thinking about whether or not he wants to continue. Okay, so that is Ice Palace pendant cleared with all items. At least what Ack can do. That is one item out of Misery Mire for all he can do. Where are we going, Ack? We are going to, looks like, Eastern Palace. And Ack is, well, it looks like Ack's going to be able to get his go mode before Thalane finishes the scene. That is not the best consolation, considering that Ack is still going to be on Master Sword Silverless when he goes and finishes the rest of the dungeon, or Turtle Rock in this case.
That is true.
Are we taking a Dunker route here on the lane side? We did go to Hope Room first, picked up a small key, but we are going to continue left side.
Yeah, that route has been paying dividends today.
Surely the big key is not on the right side.
You know, Ack could potentially be getting to GT before Thalane finishes. Look at his cane here, and
oh my gosh, you know,
he just has a Turtle Rock to do.
Yeah, but Thalane just found the big key in Stealthless Room, so you know, so I guess even for that, I think the timer is kind of ticking on Ack's side.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Ack's got one more chest to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess maybe, you know, like a light side on Axe for he doesn't have to go do the vanilla big key into the big chest, right? Because he's gonna get the Cane of Samari here out of the compass chest. So did you say something about Silvers and Argus, the Korek? Okay, alright, okay. Those look like very miniature Argai to me, so everything is fine, don't worry.
Thalane is demonstrating his vast skill with the silver arrows, you know. Nobody shoots silver arrows quite like Thalane does.
That is very correct. That's very true. That is Cane of Samaria, by the way, for Acktheboker, so that is his go mode. Still on Master Sword Silverless, but he is beelining it up the mountain. Thalane, though, yeah, again, so he does have a bug net, so he can I think he must have one empty bottle, right?
Yeah, he did pick that one bottle up. Actually, is the second check he did.
Right, yeah.
Bonk rocks, but he's seen a couple other ones, but they were way too much time to go for.
Yeah, Thalane, of course. It's kind of the consequence of safety room. Even though you are up to full health, you unfortunately have to suffer sword beams, and you know, at least Thalane took a little bit of damage in order to get rid of them. Much better to have Temper Sword damage versus Fire Sword. And of course, you know, if Thalane didn't want to do it, you know, the Gala is more than willing to help him out to get rid of his Sword Beams.
Ack wanted a Fairy. Fairy didn't want him.
Oh, poor guy. You know, Fairy is just a heartbreaker. So he does have a Fairy, at least. Maybe he won another one.
Oh wow, Thalane with the silvers. He did it.
Those are the R guy has grown too big, and you know they're not too big to fail. So Thalane, even for for silvers, was able to take him down.
Great job.
Yeah. I even got a nice little arrow pack as a refill. So. Oh no, Wizdrove, you know, getting away from him for a little bit. No real loss here. Just a couple more, yeah, and of course Thalane, you know, even though he hasn't run NMG for a while, he is, and actually, you know what, for what it's worth, he did take a little bit of a break in Rando, gotten a little bit of a D-Rust out in, you know, kind of like the more recent months. But you know he's kind of shown that even Rust doesn't really kind of you know stay on Thalane. His execution has been quite strong. Light the torches too. Ack is back in Turtle Rock. Now, I think Thalane did explore everything, right, in Turtle Rock. We did not get anything extra, like
yeah,
sword-wise. Yeah, so unfortunately. And I guess given where the big key is, even I think if Ack, so unless there's a source, maybe specifically in Compass Room, and Ack goes, you know, Hope Room right, he is going to be, I guess there might be a sword up here. Thalane's not going to bother checking, but it looks very, very likely it's going to be Masters of Serverless for Ack.
Yep. Thalane has just made quick work of that tower climb. He just has 2 boss fights left here. Not the easiest, but at the same time, Thalane has all the equipment he needs.
Yeah, nice using iframes in this. Ack was unable to kind of take them out. Oh, almost got the triple. Not sure if that was actually possible, but it was a good angle. Was that 1 or 2?
That was 1. Whoa. So we're up to 3.
4. Okay, this Aga fight is brought to you by Sesame Street. Oh, but you know we've got a double in there or triple, whatever. You know, Aga's dead.
4 cycle, pretty standard in my experience.
Aga 2 is never you know it's 3 times Aga, so is you know pretty much basically you know like 3 times as challenging, right?
Right.
Just throw an extra cycle in there for fun.
Ack does not remember he didn't get the big key, so that's a little unfortunate.
Wait, he didn't get the big key?
Nope, right there.
Oh, I see. Well, that is really unfortunate. So out of curiosity, so like if you hit like a very, very good route, you know you have a good route, do you kind of get like end game jitters? Like, you know, like normally like it's kind of like one of those anticipations like don't mess up because you know you're ahead type of thing. Like, do you think maybe Thalane might be experiencing this?
I think so. I think Thalane probably feels like good on a rational basis about how the scene has gone, but at the same time, he has double heartbeats going off in his ears.
He has half a heart on there. Thank you, Blue Mail. Holy cow. Maybe I shouldn't have spoken to you. Maybe I should hope that we didn't have Blue Mail, so we would have just died and we would have gone this fight again. Oh, we have to. At least he has silvers. The fight's gonna be over soon. Get it. Have mercy on us, please. Please stop moving. You think Admin Herfy or Admin Dante is willing to ban double harpies from the settings? Alright, that's 2 silver arrows down. The last one, that is it. Thalane is going to hold up his sword. He's going to claim the Triforce, and he is going to claim the undefeated title of his group versus Acktheboker here in SpeedGaming 2022. GG's for Thalane. GG's. Ack has heard the victory for Thalane. He is ready to call it quits. let's see if we can get these guys in for a quick chat. I think thalane doesn't have to hold down, right, or hold X or something.
Yes, it is encouraged to speed through the credits. Thalane would rather sip on some Dr. Pepper. Which,
I was gonna say, so if you've ever seen Matt last year from SGL 2021, Matt's victory was shotgunning a PBR. It may not be the most family friendly, for this particular live scene. So I think thalane is just going to, to take a page out of Matt's book and just take some victory Dr. Pepper.
Well deserved here.
Mm-hmm. What is your beverage of choice, Korek? If you don't mind saying this on stream.
What's my a victory beverage?
Sure, yeah.
A nice craft beer would be a good victory beverage, in my opinion.
Beer. All right, yeah, that sounds good. Aged malts, something. I can throw out
season,
words.
Right?
Okay,
It depends on the season. Like if it's the winter, you get a nice stout. If it's the summer, you get something a little hoppy.
Okay. So but this is fall, right? So what would you consider?
Usually something you could either go for like the Oktoberfest, or you could go for something a little bit like a pumpkin beer, something like that.
Okay, Oktoberfest. I do like the German roots. Speaking of, we have. Let's see if we can grab the mic, Lane, and let's see if we can get Ack. Run with boots. Yes. Hello, GG's guys.
GG's. Yo, GG's.
Yo.
We already talked about the route up there, so we don't need to talk about it.
Well, okay, so we don't have to talk about it. Let's just ask some questions about it. Thalane, tell us about what you were thinking in the Light World. What influenced you to go into Eastern Palace?
So pretty much I figured like going into this race, like no matter if I win or lose, it's like not gonna matter for like for the brackets, right? So I figured, okay, let's just go into penalties, so why not, right? And then I found Flute in Saha. I was like, okay, that's pretty good already. And then I was like, you know what? Let's just keep going and see what I get. Right? Even knowing the bow was on Lumberjack, I was like, okay, it's interesting. And then and then Moonpearl ended up on Pyramid, and I was like, oh, maybe I need like Green Pendant for something, but ended up being nothing. So yeah.
Yeah, we were actually wondering if you, because you went to Agina early, right? And then you got the book in the front of Escape, and then I don't know if that made you, that further incentivized you to make a more aggressive play early on?
That at least made me not go back to Desert for a little bit until I found Flute, right? And then I was like, okay, let's just go in and see what I missed.
Fair. Okay. So we don't, Korek's on commentary, right? How could you not go into Eastern? Ack.
I had full intentions on going into Eastern. I was like,
after you've exhausted every other option, I got you.
Well, no, because I don't know if you remember how I started, but I literally went right to Saha. I did the map check and I was like, yo, Eastern's a pendant. I said, let's go. And then I got Flute and I was like, all right, we're good. And if it would have been like Samaria and Flute switch spots, dude, I would have been in Eastern so fast. But once I got Flute, I was like, man, that's like a really good edge to get so early. I felt really good. And then I saw Samaria and Eastern, and I felt really bad.
Did you have any thoughts of Thalane maybe gone there earlier? I mean, maybe not as late as maybe you did, right?
I still it wasn't my last location. I still had some timely stuff that was skipped. So I was like, yeah, I guess if he did all this extra stuff plus the stuff I skipped, then I'm in a good spot. But I'm just happy he finished before I was in GT. That was the nicest thing you could have ever done to me, because then I would have been like, maybe I still got a chance,
So Ack, about all that extra stuff that you skipped, Thalane, what equipment did you have there at the end?
Did you have silvers?
I had silvers, tempered, blue mail, 8 hearts.
I'm starting to wonder where one of those was.
Did you check library by chance?
Yeah, I checked library.
Did you check race game by chance? I'm sorry. It was too soon.
Was there something on race game again?
There was.
No.
What was on race game?
No, there was nothing.
Oh, thank God. Okay. So when I had Flute already, and I went to library, and then I went right on the screen transition to race game, and I stopped and left. I didn't even look. I did it on purpose.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I will not. I will admit that was like burning a hole in the back of my head while I was looking for that Samaria. I was like, oh no. But I don't know. I thought it was funny, so.
Yeah, I think the rest of the seed just played out really well, and like when I was a medallion away from go, I figured, you know what, let's look at which medallion I need, because when I find it, I want to know if I'm in go or not.
And then you found it.
And then it was like right next door. I was like, okay, please just be in here so I'm done. Right?
Yeah, nice.
Worked out pretty good.
Okay, so yeah, it was Ether. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. I was really surprised to see the Moon Pearl on Pyramid, because, I mean, I didn't go into, obviously I didn't go into Eastern yet, so.
Yeah, I think we were talking about it at the time. So like, if the pyramid was nothing, you would be forced to go to Eastern, right? I don't know what else you would have done.
Yeah.
Or go get the bow, right? And then
or
clear
the
it
bow
out,
was
yeah.
like just not on Lumberjack too. Like that also would have been a good thing as well, because then I'm never doing Aga, which obviously puts you into Eastern, but. It was a really great combination, especially when my mind, like literally when I boot up the seat, I'm like, I'm going into Eastern. There were so many things that took me away from it, even though I wanted to go there. But it's rando. It's no big deal.
It is. It's rando.
Yeah, and GG's to you, man.
Yeah, thanks.
Congrats on
GGs.
undefeated in the group. Congrats on taking down the #1 seed. So I've heard the whole dang tournament.
It doesn't change, by the way. You still hold the #1 seed.
Nope.
Yeah.
Thalane, the crown is now yours.
Thank you.
Wear it proudly.
I enjoy the victory, Dr. Pepper, on stage that you could see. Yeah. Cherry, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Little advertisement.
Yeah, we need more sponsors apparently. But this was actually, I thought that was a really fun race. Oh yeah, for the record, Thalane got his temper sword at Zora.
Oh, at Zora?
Yeah, yep. And then Silver's were in purple chest.
Dude, I was sweating that so much because I didn't have the glove and I got the flippers, and I was like, how did Jim do that hula hand again? Because I had no money. Oh man, I really did not want that situation to play out like that. That was gonna hurt.
Thalane did do hula hand, so that's where he got his money.
Did you do the cool hula hand too, or did you have flippers yet?
No, the old lame one.
Okay, so you didn't have flippers yet, or did you have the glove?
Oh no, I did it in back of his cape. I did have gloves.
Yeah,
Okay.
He did desert first.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I didn't have the glove yet, so.
So this is potentially 2 times where the original hula hand technique could have paid off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure there was a sword somewhere.
Yeah, we were still looking.
Yeah.
I think everyone was still looking with you.
I mean, I assume I showed a lot of things that you didn't get to see on his side, so.
That is very correct, yes.
But they weren't swords, but it's fine. You finished before I needed it. That's like all I could ask for.
Yeah, but so I think and in this case it was just for bragging rights, right? Both you're gonna advance, hopefully, into brackets, barring any last minute, I guess, like changes for the play-in race.
Yeah.
Stipulations.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or I could like chill and just do commentary instead. And it's way less stressful when you're just like watching them rather than playing them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, either or.
Yeah, and you guys did actually like a very fast seed. Like all the other, unlike all the other ones, where have been like 130, 140 or whatever. This.
Yeah, I think this was like 110 with Aga, right? So that was pretty good.
Yeah.
You finished like 110?
I think it was like 110, 115.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, he go moded 4 dungeons, right? Like it was quite fast.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
I think it was like T-Rock, Hera. Even though Hera was a little hiccup because I went to the first.
Yeah, we were
item
actually
and I
wondering
was
what that was.
Wait, I don't need that. Yeah, and then T-Rock, Hera, Swamp, and Pod, right? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I went to the mountain like really early. I think I even did it before like Thieves and Skull. Just cause I wanted to like see what my go mode and stuff was and had all that, and then I was like, dude, it'd be real sick if Amir was up here or something like that,
He found the mirror in Skullwoods
Yeah.
right as you were leaving, actually. Cowork actually had said at the time, it's like, when Thalane comes up here, he's going to have the mirror, and he's going to be able to open up.
Wait, you went to Skull Woods?
Yeah.
What the? Did you not see our file names? Yeah. Yeah, you and Dunka, you don't get no Fogo.
You also did
I
Dunker
also
route.
I also tried a new GT route.
Yeah, you also did Dunker route, so.
Oh, what was your GT route?
I did Hope Room, and then like even though I got a small key, I mirrored and went left side.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's hoping for a free meal at Fogo. This is what I'm getting at, so.
Where was the big key at?
Southwestern.
Yeah, it was like Stafford's room
Oh.
immediately, so
Bwayne
didn't really matter.
Bwayne laughs at us all.
Yeah,
still.
yeah, like always. He's sitting at home watching this, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
That's true, but I mean, I get at least you didn't give up like 90 seconds there. You just gave up like 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, but definitely enjoy. It's a great job, guys. This was a really fun race to watch, honestly. Like, see, I think especially your route lately just worked out so well. So, I mean, I don't know if you could have really done much better, like given what you had.
I think it was almost perfect.
Yeah. I was disappointed to not see an Ice Palace dip by you, but I'm sorry. I guess there are more matches and brackets later, so there's plenty of opportunities.
Yeah, I
left.
haven't gotten into Ice Palace for like the last 2 seats, I think, so a little bit
Alright.
shaky already.
By the
When
way,
I was
you
in Ice,
hovered,
I was like, he's
you hovered
probably
it
been
out.
here.
No, but you hovered it.
Yeah, and yeah. When I told you I didn't know the like Ice Palace bomb jump, it was true, so I just hovered.
Oh,
I did it, and I was like, that's not right. Whatever. Let me just hover. Yeah, I don't know how to do it anymore.
All right.
Yeah, GG's to you again, bro.
No, GG's.
Awesome.
Thanks for the commentary, Korek and Clemos.
Yeah.
My only complaint is that you finished too early, so that we would have less because then we had less.
We can just
color
talk.
commentary.
Like, when's the play-in
Yeah.
race?
when is the?
Yeah.
We might need to stall a couple more hours for the plane race. It's tentatively 8 p.m. So, but we'll see. We'll go find an admin and.
We're not gonna do like a 3-hour Q&A.
If I was actually hoping we could buy a little bit more time, maybe get some Popeyes for Herfy. If we can convince him to take out double heart beeps, for the rest of the tournament, that would be very much appreciated. So
Unbelievable.
I know, right?
Yeah, I heard like
Just take out the lane. Oh my, Ack, why could you not do this?
Well, it wouldn't have mattered.
Okay,
If I
that's-
won, you
that's
still
true.
you still had
That's
to
true.
listen to it.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry.
All right.
like whenever the double heart beeps came on, I saw T Sigma like sit on the admin desk and he like rolled his eyes. I was like, oh yeah, I know what this is about.
I gave him a shout out for he had to fix a chord, and I gave him a thumbs up when he went by. Yeah.
Nice.
Very good.
Yeah. Well, this was great. Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, take a nice night off, relax a bit, go get some food. Yeah, we'll see what happened in the plane race. You actually might hear Ack on comms if we do something.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe. But until then, I think you have any thoughts, Korek? Thank you so much for commentary.
Great
This
race,
was
guys.
yeah. This was great.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Hope that.
GG.
Yeah. Until then, yeah. Have a great night. I don't know if there are more rando races tonight. At least not on Restream. I don't know, but yeah. But maybe the play-in race. We'll see. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Oh, there's gonna be one more. Mr. Angry Pants versus Andy. SpeedGaming 3 at 9 p.m. So there is at least one more match. Guaranteed match in addition to maybe the play-in race. So cool. Till then, see you tomorrow. Potentially tonight for brackets. Bye. Done so much for us. Thank you.